Let's talk about the Brawl. So, some wild action right up the road at the Big A last night. And I think we learned a pretty important lesson. Do not jerk with Walt Weiss. Because Walt Weiss, of all people, age 62, will put you in the ground. I used to have Walt on the show all the time when he played. That's how long I've done this. When Walt played, Walt would come on the show. But last night, that's what Walt Weiss did to a monster. 6'4" Braves DH, Angels DH, Jorge Soler. The 62-year-old Braves skipper put that massive dude right in the ground after all hell broke loose in the fifth inning. Also, I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed because that was not your typical bench clearing, hand holding, stand around, stalemate. You're only out there because you have to be out there, because if you don't go out there and dance with somebody, then one of your own will knock you out. No, that actually was a straight up old school brawl. A Donnybrook, if you will. And of all people, 62-year-old Walt Weiss shut that bleep down. Now, here's your quick backstory. Soler owns Ronaldo Lopez. Lopez does not like being owned by Soler. Soler comes up in the first inning, hits a bomb off Lopez. So in his second AB, Lopez dots Soler. Then comes AB number 3. And Lopez buzzes the tower right past Soler, up in the zone. And it took a minute. It was delayed, but then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. Here's how it initially looked on the broadcast.
Now here comes Soler going after Lopez. They square up, and Soler and Lopez are throwing haymakers. They're going after each other. Soler is finally tackled from behind as the Angels and Braves are all out onto the field. That came up out of nowhere. Soler was upset after a couple of pitches were high and in after he hit yet another homer off Lopez. And a fight broke out just out of thin air.
Okay, I disagree with that. That did not come out of nowhere. It may have been delayed, but it certainly did not come out of nowhere. We know exactly where that came from. That came from Lopez's inability to keep Soler in the building or in the yard. And then Soler came after him. Now, if you're watching this on the stream, Lopez is backing up, and well, he should be. Soler's a monster, man. That dude is enormous. And although his form was not perfect on those overhand rights, the haymakers, here's where it starts. You know, what? You got something to say to me? Come on out here. Yeah, Lopez, I don't think you want that. So Soler is throwing bombs. Luckily, he's not connecting because he is throwing bombs. And then, of all people, it's Walt Weiss to get in to get him on the ground. So 1 second, everything's kind of chill. And the very next second, we've got a full-on heavyweight bout happening in front of the mound. And if you look at Walt, if you're watching this on the stream, in the chaos, look at him. Look at him. Look at the perfect form tackle that diffused that situation. It's a thing of beauty. What a takedown this is. Grab cloth, man. But let's go back and see how this even started in the first place. When you look at the center field angle, you can see that Soler and Lopez were just kind of staring each other down between pitches. Pretty badass. I don't know what else was said. I just know that Lopez threw a high ball after dotting him, and then they stared each other down. But that was after his inability to keep Soler in the yard. To me, honestly, I think that's one of the most gutless, reckless things any pitcher can do. If you can't get a guy out, much less keep him in the yard, and he's turning him around 425 feet on you, man, that's on you. You got to wear that. It is so punk. It's beyond punk. It's so reckless and so dangerous. I mean, it's one thing if you can't keep a guy in the yard and your pride is hurt and your butt hurt and you want to dot a guy in the back or you want to dot a guy in the ass or you want to hit a guy in the hip, We've talked about this. There's a right way to hit a guy and a wrong way to hit a guy. But if you're going to come up and in, over the shoulders, where anything can happen, right? You see how batters sometimes freeze? Or what if they lean into it? Or what if you hit a guy in the head? And for what? Not because one got away from you, but because your butt hurt and your pride is hurt because that guy took you deep. I mean, as long as I've watched baseball, I've hated that. I think that is the most reckless, gutless, cowardly thing a pitcher could do. Well, you showed him. You want to show him, get him out. That's not a reason to throw at a guy. And I'm not even talking about, hey, man, let's look at the code. You know, that archaic code that major leaguers live by that none of us understand because we never played the game at the highest level. You know how the code changes anyway from year to year, decade to decade. But I've never understood how that's part of the code. That's not a part of the code. That's bullshit. That's bull bleep. That's horse. You can't throw up and in on a guy because you can't keep him in the yard.
Whining little baby.
I almost want to say an eye for an eye in that case. I mean, you could kill a guy, honestly. I'm not overreacting to it. If you run it up there, 95, and you hit a guy in the head, I mean, who knows? Or you hit a guy in the face. That's some life-changing stuff right there. So why shouldn't the batter be allowed to come out and handle his business with a bat in his hands? Not that Soler cared. He had his fists, and he was not afraid to let them go. He was throwing haymakers. Let's just say he was telegraphing those punches. Those punches were not hard to get out of the way of because look at him. Talk about telegraphing, but that dude, those were punches with really bad intentions. That was not for show. He had had enough, and he had every right to. Now, for the tackle that shut it down, check out the slow-mo of Skip saving the day by pinning this giant dude while he's throwing haymakers to the ground. It's pretty amazing that a 62-year-old guy did this. Watch this. Look at this. He went low, wrapped him up. Great hit, great form, great wrap-up, great technique. Everything about that was great. Don Zimmer would have been proud. The Falcons the Atlanta Falcons, they agree that was a perfect form stud tackle because they posted on X today, quote, "Come put on the pads, Skip." Yeah, except he didn't need any pads. He just made light work of a 6'4" Jorge Soler, who was worked up, man, who was hot. And for the record, Weiss loves the dude. He's coached him before. They have a great relationship. He just knew that he had to diffuse that situation before something really bad happened. Listen to Walt.
Tackle Jorge?
Yeah, I mean that. I love Soler. You know, we were teammates here, but that's a big man, and so I just felt I got to get him off his feet because he's going to hurt somebody. And so that was my instinct, just to get in there and get Georgie off his feet. Because he was he was on the warpath.
Hey, Walt, you were teammates with Soler? Yeah, just like Bud Black and I used to talk in the 70s. Not exactly teammates. Hey, you know what, though? That says so much about the manager. A 60-something-year-old dude leading the charge and going right to the dude who's headhunting at this point. Himself. Like, he didn't let one of his younger guys, take care of it. The manager got right in the middle of it. Because, quote, he knew he was on the warpath and they were teammates there, and he knows how bad of a man he could be. Soler even agreed with the assessment, by the way. Here's what he said after the game, quote, "We have a good relationship. I don't think he tried to do anything against me. We're friends. I think he was just trying to protect me." It is pretty amazing that it was the manager who ended that thing. Pretty funny. Not nearly as funny as me finally doing an entire segment on something that happened at the Big A. but it revolved around a Braves manager putting an Angel player right in the ground. Sorry, Adam Rank. And by sorry, Adam Rank, I mean, no, I'm not. Hey, maybe if the rally monkey joined that brawl, he could have evened things out for the Angels. But that cowardly primate was off hiding somewhere, waiting for the call, waiting for when they put him up on the scoreboard. Monkeys. Lunch for the monkey. Lunch for the